Good morning, everyone. How are we today? Oh, so it's Friday already. I can't even believe that. Crazy that the time is flying so fast. So we're going to do a couple different things today, and I am going to get this warm. So it's always easier, makes things go faster when you have a bit of a warm pan to start off with. When you're making anything, if you get your pan hot, then it just saves so much time. So I usually put a little bit of water in it just to make sure there's something in it, and then get it heating for when you're ready to start cooking. It saves a lot of time when you do that, rather than starting it after you get the food in. It takes much longer. So we're going to do a couple things. We're going to do a cabbage salad, and using the beautiful bacon coconut that we made yesterday was just so totally awesome. It was so yummy that when I put it in the oven to cook to actually get all the flavors absorbed, by the time it was ready, it was like half gone because it was just so good. I just couldn't control myself. It is so yummy. You definitely need to try that. If you didn't see that video yesterday, then it would be a good idea to try it. Okay, so I'm just checking to see if everybody can see everything here, and what I'm going to do is just slice up my cabbage here. I'm just doing like whatever, those kinds of slices, and then this, to me, it just goes a little bit faster. You can slice your cabbage however you want, and if you want to use a food processor, go ahead and do that. It doesn't really matter. If you want it in strips, that's fine, or squares, or whatever you want to do. I'm not too worried about it. Like if you wanted it traditional coleslaw style, then of course you would want it more in strips. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm just going to do this up a little different today. But feel free to do whatever you want, because it's your salad. So yeah, so we're just going to do this, and of course everything's pre-washed, clean dishes, clean cabbage, washed hands, and so that we can work with our hands and not have to worry about anything. So I have my cabbage here, and I am going to have to tell you, hey Monique, hi. Yes, the coconut bacon was so good. It was just, but every time I checked it in the oven, it was like I had to have a few bites, more than a few. So yeah, so the story is my carrots from the garden. I went out to get them, and I won't show you the bites, but there's somebody out there eating the tops of them. So yeah, so anyways, I'm missing the tops of my carrots. Whoever's out there must need it more than I do. So I did just end up with like the bottom half of most of my carrots, which was kind of disappointing. But on the other hand, like I say, whoever's out there that's desperate enough to eat the tops of my carrots, I guess they need it. So I have washed these. These have been really carefully washed, and I'm just going to grate a little bit here. And probably it's not going to go right into the dish, but I'm just going to throw a little bit in, for flavor and color to this, and not a whole lot. Like I often don't use carrot in my, it's supposed to be like a coleslaw, right? So it's not really, this is a traditional. Hey Kathy, good morning. Nice to see everybody. Happy Friday. So we're going to set this here and put these carrots in like this a little bit. We're going to be doing lots with carrots, so it doesn't matter that I get carrots into everything. So, but anyways, yeah, so we're going to do that just for color. Some people might want to put in a little onion in the, yeah, they are nice big carrots. They were nice big carrots. Some people might want to put a little bit of onion in here. You can if you want. I'm kind of after more of a cabbage coleslaw kind of thing, so I don't really want to have the onions in. But I am going to add some pecans, and so I don't know, should I chop them or not chop them? All these decisions to be made, right? So I'll just chop them a little bit. Put a few of these pecans in, and then I'm actually going to put this here. Usually another thing that's really handy, like when I work at the sink, which is where I usually work. This is not my regular workstation, but it is my little camera place. But it's handy if you have your cutting board right at the edge of your countertop, and then you can just, scrape it in. I know that's probably everybody in the whole wide world knows that, but anyway, I just thought I'd explain why I was doing what I'm doing. Okay, so we have that. We're going to make our little sauce here, or yeah, I guess you could call it a sauce. I'm going to use the Vegenaise. I love it. It is so, to me, I just love the flavor because I'm not a super fan of mayonnaise. I just never did really like the taste of it. How much do we need? Okay, how much cabbage is there? Probably almost 3 cups. So I'd say 1 heaping tablespoon. Let's go for 2 heaping tablespoons. Okay. But I really do like the Vegenaise because it's quite mild. It doesn't have a mayonnaise taste. I find a mayonnaise taste strong. Although there are lots of other products out there that are really good too. They have, I can't remember the brand name, but they have like another vegan mayonnaise or whatever. So you're just staying away from the eggs, and then depending on if you're trying to stay away from eggs and dairy, which, for me personally, like everyone needs to do what they need to do for their own health and their own emotional, moral, whatever it is that you think you need to do. So, yeah, if that makes sense. And for me, it's really about dairy is not good for me because I have a lot of respiratory things that are sort of a genetic thing, and so I do try to stay away from the dairy. So anyway, all right, so we have like 2 heaping tablespoons of the Vegenaise, and I put in, I'd say like 1/4 cup, maybe 1/8 cup of maple syrup in here. And I'm going to try and mix this without banging and clanging too much with you guys. Let's see, can I mix that without making too much noise? And the other thing I really love, like I just can't help myself. Oh, hey, Darlene, good morning, everybody. I can't help myself but want to add cayenne to this because the cayenne just gives everything a super nice bite. You can, and I will put like salt and Celtic sea salt and pepper in here, but that cayenne just brings everything out. And plus, it helps so much with circulation, your blood vessels, your heart, your everything. It's so good. So I'm going to, rather than put it on the salad, I'm going to put it in the dressing here, and just, I pretty much know how to eyeball it pretty good with the cayenne. Because I use it so much, and I also know the degree of the spiciness that I want particularly. So I am going to take a tiny taste of this just to make sure I've added enough maple syrup, because it really does, it just brings it out more with the heat from the cayenne and the maple syrup. Lovely. Not too sweet. Don't want it too sweet, but you just want to sort of bring out the flavors. Drinking a cup of my Vitality tea, which has been going, flying out the door because it has so many great health benefits with ashwagandha and astragalus and ginseng and all those really great herbs that are so good for your immune system. So I'm just going to pour this on. This is like, we've done this before a little bit differently, but this time, I can see, I didn't mix the maple syrup that well. I can see it's not well blended, but that's okay. You can do that after. No big deal. Nobody's after perfection around here. You're just do what you do, and it's all good, right? And even if it's not good, it's all good. So I am going to mix this first and get it all mixed together before I add the super special, awesome ingredient, which is why I didn't want too much of the maple syrup, because we are going to add those fantastic coconut bits. Now, when I do this, I'm always, I don't know if, you know, like for me, I really like the color to pop out and make it just look like, you know, you want more, right? And so I'm missing something in here. I have the orange and I have the little brown pecans, but what I would do, and I won't bother to do it right now because I don't want to run around and make you guys watch me run around the kitchen like we did yesterday. But I would add like some cranberries or something red in here. It'll really bring out just the visual, make it look as good as it tastes. Okay, so this is going to taste amazing, but it could look a little bit better. You could add goji berries or something like that. I don't think that I have any right here. Sometimes I put all those things, like I actually do try to put all the things that I could use that are more health enhancing near where I'm cooking, so that I am like grabbing whatever I see, like say the maca. You can add a little bit of maca to this. It's good for your energy. Excuse me, it's good for energy, stamina, brain health, all kinds of things. And it doesn't have much flavor. It has a little bit of a roasted, earthy flavor. And so you're not even going to notice it in there, but it adds some health benefits, right? So if you can do that. The other thing I could do, I probably won't in this instant because this is such a mild dish, but often what I will do is add a little bit of seaweed, and this would be great for color, but again, I don't want to overpower it because it does have a little bit of a seaweed taste, and I'm not looking for that right now in my coleslaw. So, all right, back to the magic bits. The magic bits, here we go. I put them in the jar already. These are amazing. I'll put them in a spoon, let you see. But this is what we did yesterday, and this is just strictly coconut bits and coconut flakes, and then we added tamari and maple syrup and a little bit of liquid smoke. So these actually taste like little bacon bits. And so we didn't add a whole lot of the liquid smoke because it depends on what you're after. If you're after your bacony flavor, you know, some people like a maple bacon a little bit sweeter. Some people like it more smoked, and so in that case you could add a little more of the liquid smoke. So anyway, there you go. These are amazing. You put them on anything. I have to say I've just been eating them like straight up for a snack. Very, very addicting. I'll warn you now. Okay, so this adds a little bit of a crunch too. I just wanted to put them on top. I didn't want to mix them in too much. But what we'll do is we'll put this in here so you can see it a little bit better. And like I say, you can put something red on top if you want, and it's super good. So the cabbage, of course, everybody knows, you know, going back to carrots, everybody knows what the carrots are. Good for beta carotene, good for your eyes, yada yada, all that stuff. And the cabbage is amazing because it has it has vitamin K and vitamin C. Now your green cabbage will have more vitamin K than vitamin C, and your purple cabbage will have more vitamin C than vitamin K because of the purple color. It has more of the antioxidants, and it's actually your purple cabbage. Actually, that'd be kind of neat to sprinkle on here too if I had it with me. But your purple cabbage has as many antioxidants as goji berries, and so it's a whole lot cheaper and amazingly good for you. Okay, so I didn't have this on super hot. For our next thing that we're gonna do here, oh, you know what? I'm gonna sprinkle some. I didn't do the Celtic sea salt and the black pepper on here. And speaking of salt, there's kind of a little bit of controversy on iodized salt. I personally like to stay away from that, but the controversy is that people do need iodine in their diets, and it's true, you know, that we don't really get enough natural iodine. So I prefer to get it in seaweeds and things like that have a natural salt. Anyways, yeah, I think we get enough salt in other things. We don't need to be using that. And so Celtic sea salt is my favorite because it has all the minerals. So it has all of the minerals in it, and Himalayan salt's really good too. So anyway, little thing on that. Okay, so that is that. We're going to do a little show and tell here. I already showed you my half-eaten carrots that the little animal has partaken with, and then I have this turnip. Now, see, I brought him out yesterday, so he's a little wilty here. But the turnip greens are still out there, and they are still amazing to use in a salad. Like I used these in a salad last night when I picked it. Cut them up, put them in the salad, so it has all kinds of nutrition in the dark leafy greens of the turnip. And the other thing is, in my little pile here, even these things, like in the turnips, you know, I'm cleaning out the garden and kind of going through. I don't want to just rip everything out and put it to bed, so to speak, because there's still good food out there. Even though this is a little tiny, never developed turnip, and this is another, you know, kind of something that people would throw away, honestly. This is good food. What I did was just going to look for a place. Oh, here, maybe I'll put this here since we don't need that dish right now. And so these guys here, what I did yesterday was pulled these out, and it's amazingly sweet because there's so much nutrition in there still, right? So it's different than just your regular you know, carrots and broccoli and cauliflower and that kind of thing. And you know, when I cut this, sliced it yesterday, it's super sweet. Like, it's just got such a rich, intense flavor, and it's not woody. It's very tender, you know. And so I just sliced it really, really thin to get the flavor out, and added it to the salad. And so you have these little tiny, almost like radish bits. So anybody who's gardening, anybody who's a real gardener probably thinks I'm crazy, I'm sure, because who would waste the time in doing that? But I really think it's important to, you know, to give honor to the plants that tried to do something, and to, you know, not waste food, because it is perfectly good and really, really tasty. Like, it has a completely different flavor than the big turnip. And this is like, I don't know what this one's gonna be like, because, you know, it's been out there for a long time. But the regular turnips are, you know, they have a turnip taste, right? It's kind of a strong acquired taste. I like it, but a lot of people mix it with carrots and things like that, because it is, you know, it is a little bit different. And for some people, I'll try not to clang, but when they're little like this, I'm telling you, it's a completely different flavor, completely different animal, and we really need to not be wasting food. So I'm just going to peel it a little bit. I mean, honestly, I didn't even have to peel it. Mostly I peeled it to find out how tender it is, because sometimes they are woody, but it's not. It's like, you know, nature's just come along and made this offering of little bits. It's almost like similar to the center of a broccoli, like the broccoli heart or the broccoli stalk. Similar to that. My table must be crooked because the water's all off on one side. Anyways, yeah, so these greens are perfectly awesomely useful as well. Good nutrition, you know, in the middle of winter when you don't want to leave your house to go into the fray that's happening out there, and you want to try and stay home as much as you can. You know, these things are valuable. The other thing that you can use is things like dandelion. There are still some out there, which brings me to my next point, which I will get to in a minute. Oops, I'm throwing them on the floor. Good thing the dog likes them. I am going to add some, I wonder if I can stick a little, maybe I can stick a little spoon under there. You know, you always have to make do with whatever is going on in your life, and that helps a little bit. I don't expect perfection. I'm pretty happy with, you know, just making do with whatever it is that you have. And it makes life a lot easier when your expectations are lower. Oh my gosh. Anyways, okay, so yeah, I've always been kind of a make-do kind of person. Anyways, okay, so I'm cutting up the carrots. I haven't told you what we're doing yet. We are going to do, I'm going to try and get these finer. We're going to do a veggie flatbread. And so that is the plan. That's why I'm cutting these up and just carrying on with you about the nutrition in these beautiful greens. And we could even add some cabbage if we want. So what we're going to do, it's kind of sort of almost like a roti, except that I'm not, you know, I'm not anywhere near an expert in doing that. So I'm just going to call this a veggie flatbread. And that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to put this together. So I do have, oh, there's a couple pieces of kale. That would be good. A little bit of kale left in the garden as well. So we have carrots, kale, a little bit of turnip, and I'm just cutting it up fairly fine. And, you know, your kale has a lot of vitamin K as well. Kale is, you know, everybody knows how fantastic kale is. Kale is one of the most nutrient-dense green vegetables that there are. So that's why everybody is after the kale for the smoothies and all of the nutrition. But the thing with the kale is that it has a pretty tough cell wall. And so it's always best if you either massage it with a little bit of salt or Celtic sea salt or something, or you know, some people use olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil or something to help break it down. And the other thing is to chew our food to help break it down. So yeah, so that's what we're doing there. I have a little tiny, I don't know why, I have a little tiny piece of broccoli, hardly anything. I guess I need to go shopping again, but I try not to. I try not to go shopping very often, which is probably a good plan these days. Okay. So what we're going to do here, what our plan is, have I used everything? I'm going to talk about this guy in a minute, but he's not going into our dish. Okay, so the reason we have these vegetables here and everything's clean, washed, I'm just going to put them in here. And the carrots are a little bit big. I was actually going to grate them, and that might have worked better. It might have been better. But sometimes when I get carried away hanging out with you guys and chatting away about random things, about health and food and all that, I get really distracted easily. And then I forget what it is that I'm doing or supposed to be doing. But that's okay, because it doesn't matter. We're just here to have fun and share recipes and healthy food and cooking and all that kind of stuff. So I am just going to add a little bit. I kind of have a mountain of flour here. I'm obviously not going to use all this. So I'm just going to, this is some gluten-free flour. And I have, that's the Bob's Red Mill flour. And I have a little bit of rice flour as well that I'm going to add to this. Okay, it doesn't matter. Whatever you have, whatever you want to use is perfectly fine. You're just going to add whatever kind of, I mean, hopefully you don't have gluten sensitivities, but if you do, then use whatever it is that turns you on, okay? So that's the important thing. Whatever it is that works for you for flour, I do prefer to stay away from the gluten when I can. Which we can, you know, there's really no reason to, there's so many gluten-free options these days. It's just super awesome. Okay, so now that this water's going down, and the reason I put the water in was just to get this nice and warm, and so that we can easily just put this in there and it's going to cook. But I don't really want to mix the coconut oil with the water, and so I'm just waiting for that to dissipate. Maybe we'll work with this a little bit more while we're waiting for that to dissipate. Okay, you're just going to add whatever amount of water is going to make this turn into a nice sticky dough. That's going to be really hard to handle with my hands. So you're just going to get this together with some water. And we need a little more water. And I'm going to try something different because I remember I did this with you guys. Oh gosh, I think it was back in March when all this started, and I mix this with my hands, which is traditional, you know. That's what people do. Real cooks use their hands, and the problem was I used my hands and then I couldn't touch anything else, and I couldn't shut the camera off. Oh my God! So I'm trying to be a little more graceful this time. But you can see the little bit of water, this is just turning into a little bit of flour to coat the vegetables. And you don't want too much. So you want enough to hold the vegetables together, but preferably you want more veggies than you do flour, obviously. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You know, it all depends what you're after. And I'm after more vegetables than flour. Oh my God, I need some more ginkgo to get my mind so that I remember what I'm talking about. Sometimes, you know, when you do the Facebook Live every single day, it's just like hanging out in your kitchen, and you start to not worry about things going wrong or things that you say that whatever. Anyway, you become a little more casual, or at least I do. So yeah, so this is going to work, that I don't have to use my hands. I'm happy about that. And that is not that big of a burner. So we're going to do 2 of these. We're going to split that in 2. If I had my regular stove, I would probably just go around the whole thing, you know, not quite to the edges, because obviously I'm going to have to flip it over. But because I'm probably just going to have most of my heat, oh, that is up high. I'm going to have most of my heat in the middle. I'm just going to aim for making this little pancake thing in the middle. Okay. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do this without using my hands, but it's working. Yay. So yeah, so this is just a little thing, you know, to get your veggies in. And the thinner that you make it, the faster it's going to cook, and so your vegetables will be more raw-ish. And, you know, it's always better if your vegetables are on the raw side of things. There's more nutrition, but personally for myself, I find for digesting a lot of raw food, it's just such a cool, damp weather here that that I really like things heated up and kind of, you know, at least steamed a little bit. You know, I'm not a total raw foodie, although it's a good thing if you can be for most people. I'm going to set that there because I'm going to talk about something else. I'm not going to do all these in front of you and bore you guys to death. But what we're going to talk about is this, and I don't know, I picked it yesterday, and it's a little hard to see, but this is yellow dock, and it has, I actually posted a picture of this on my Instagram, and I'll move it onto my Facebook. so that you can see the actual plant. But this grows everywhere. It's a weed that grows everywhere, and it has those big long seed stalks that come up, and in the fall they're like purple crunchy papery seeds, and you'll see it everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. I was really quite amazed to be able to get this big of a root, because usually it's so deep and so entrenched in the into the dirt that the root breaks off right away. But this was in my garden, and my garden has really good soil this year, thanks to Alexandra Leupold and me taking her Cosmic Garden course. I have a really good garden this year. So anyway, I got the root out, and this is so important. And you can buy this stuff at the health food store. It is really good for liver detoxification. It just helps with the blood and the liver. If you do it, if you were to slice the root and use it as a tea, it's really good for the respiratory tract. It's good for it has mild pain relieving and inflammation relieving properties. So it's just like a good sort of a calming down of inflamed tissue. It's been used for if you've had sinus infections and that kind of thing, and inflammation, like it goes inflammation right through the digestive tract too, right? So it will help in removing toxins, and it helps to it just assists in a healthier membrane through the colon and the throat and the nasal passages and all that kind of thing. And it does have a little bit of antifungal properties too. So it's like a tonic, right? You would make this tea when you had some sort of nasal inflammation or any kind of intestinal inflammation or whatever. Just as a little tonic to kind of soothe those membranes and balance things out, and then do a little bit of a detox, so it'll detox through the system and also through the liver. So this is a really great thing to have, maybe a cup of this, depending on what's going on. If you're having an issue with your sinuses, then you would have a cup every day for maybe 5 days, and then not for months. Or it would be a tonic that you would take a cup of every month, so it all depends what you're trying to do with it. This is kind of like my herb of the day that I wanted to share with you, and for you to investigate. It's good to learn about these weeds that grow around us, that we have the opportunity to get medicine for free. And so it's a super awesome plant. I'll put more information. I'm pretty sure it's on my Instagram, but I'll put it onto my Facebook so you guys can check it out. And I think it's so important to do things that make you a little more self-reliant, so that we don't have to depend on certain things. I don't want to say certain drugs, but I mean, if there's something wrong, you have to go to the doctor. But right now, there's a wait list for many, many things. And so if you can do something to kind of bring your system into balance on your own, then that's really helpful while you're waiting for, for the big guns or the investigation. I completely forgot to get a flipper. That's my thing. I usually forget something, and in this case, it's the flipper. I'm going to get the flipper, see if this is ready. And try and get the right one, the right flipper. Oh my God, I'm always driving you guys crazy with my running around. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. We're gonna try and do it in one piece. Okay, I am not a pancake maker, so wish me luck. Okay, I did it. All right, so it's so it looks good. I may have put a little too much coconut oil in there, because I try not to use very much oil, and I may have put a little too much in. So be careful with how much oil you put in, unless you're one of those people that doesn't care about oil. And so you're just going to put, whatever seasonings you want. Speaking of which, I got so carried away in telling you guys about yellow dock and everything else. I completely forgot to add spices to this, which you definitely probably should do before you put it in the pan. But that's okay. We can do it afterwards. Okay, so you might want to add some garlic. You might want to add some salt and pepper. You might want to add a little bit of cayenne. So, and you can, you know, I mean, you can still do it over top too, which is totally fine. And then I'm down to my last bits of my garlic. This is a garlic powder, so you can put that on after. It doesn't matter. But I would have put chunks of garlic, like fresh garlic in here, and I will with the rest of it. So for sure, don't be like me. Don't forget to season it before you put it in the pan. But it's easy to do afterwards too. I didn't already add salt to that, did I? No, I'm starting to forget. Okay, so you could add, oh my gosh, so many different things to that. If you wanted to, garlic, onions, all kinds of vegetables. Cumin would be really good. Coriander would be really good. Turmeric would be awesome. I always love adding turmeric because it has so many of the anti-inflammatory properties, and has the curcumin, which is so good for inflammation and pain as well. And so I will add that to this, and it's going to turn it a really nice orange too. So yeah, so don't get distracted like I do and forget to add all of the goodies to the rest of the batter. So yeah, so that's it. It's super easy. You know, kind of a healthy lunch. As you can tell, it's like mostly vegetables and good stuff, you know, with a little bit of gluten-free flour just to hold it together. And so when you have a, you know, today's kind of a, I don't know, it was sunny for a bit and now it's kind of yucky and rainy. And so something nice and warm like this, and what I would do is when you're eating it, you can use whatever kind of sauce you want. But this summer, we made a plum sauce. It's like a plum chutney. So it's like a spicy plum sauce. That would be really good. You could use sweet and sour. You can use whatever sauce you want to dip that in as well. So yeah, so I'll just put this together, throw this one on, and then whatever you want to use it for, lunch, dinner, whatever. Okay, so thanks you guys. Happy Friday. Hope you enjoyed that, and got encouraged to check out the weeds. Check out your weeds, eat your vegetables, and have a really great weekend. And also check out my Instagram, my YouTube channel, share and subscribe. We'll see you guys Monday.